So, where's this dance?
At the Long Ridge Country Club.
The Long Ridge? Oh, no, what a bummer. You guys can't go.
What are you talking about?
Well, you see, there's this bird called the piping plover, and it lives in the field right next to the country club. And they want to fill in the whole area and build tennis courts, which means the plover will be wiped out. And I'm sure that's not what you want.
Of course not, but it's just a dance. What's it gonna prove if we don't go?
That you care about the plover.
I've never even seen a plover.
Well, that's too bad. They're cute little guys. Picture a large potato with feet. And they have this great call. Peeplo, peeplo, peeplo. Beautiful, huh?
Dad!
It's not just the plover. I mean, all living things are connected. You destroy one, and before you know it, you have a totally barren and lifeless planet. I'm talking no plants, no animals, no malls.
Dad!
Hello. Welcome back to
Ayo. Oh, wait.
the Who's the Boss podcast. I'm Tori.
I'm Kevin.
Why are you laughing?
I had something
Oh.
I'm going to read in a little bit.
And we are here to rewatch and discuss every single episode of Who's the Boss.
We got a voicemail.
Hey, Tori and Kevin, it's Jenny. I just wanted to call and leave a message in defense of Tony's season 8 hair. I think it looks really good. I like the short look on him. And if you don't like it, you can fight me. Okay. Love you guys. Bye.
I don't want to fight her.
No.
She's scrappy. She would win.
Yeah. And I don't even remember the hairs.
No, you haven't seen it yet. It was the conversation we were having where they made fun of his hair.
No, I know.
Oh,
but,
I gotcha.
All of this is new to me.
Right.
I mean, it is what it isn't.
I personally like this hair better, I think. And maybe even
The
like
bangs?
season 6 hair. Yeah, the bangs aren't bad. I mean, I like it better than the full long kind of shag.
Yeah.
I do wonder what they'll do if they do the reboot. I saw like a Zoom picture of him a few months ago, and he'd grown his hair out quite a bit. So I don't know if that's just because he doesn't have anyone to cut it, or if maybe he wanted to grow out some extra hair so they could mold it into Tony Micelli. Who knows? But I'm excited to see either way. Okay, thank you, Jenny. We don't have any news. We never have any news.
No. News.
No. No news is good news?
I guess.
No,
It's not.
Oh, I did see Alyssa Milano wrapped on the movie she was shooting in Canada. So it seems like
maybe there'll be some more development.
Yeah, so maybe now she'll have some time to work on that. And then, so I started reading so Alyssa Milano and another author, and I'm not prepared for this, so I should have looked her up beforehand. They've written a series of books about a little girl named Hope Roberts.
Right.
And I started reading them with the girls, and Hope Roberts' best friend is Samantha. So first they introduce her as Sam, and the girls were like, oh, Sam. And then they introduce her as Samantha Bowers. So
interesting.
Yeah, so not Bauer, but Bowers. So I was wondering if maybe that was a little throwback to Samantha.
I bet you it is.
It's cute, yeah. They thought they got a kick out of that. So the books were written with Debbie Rigaud, I think. I'm not sure I'm saying that correctly. Sorry, Debbie. But they're really cute. We're reading Project Middle School so far, which is the first one. The episode we're covering today is Season 4, Episode 5, New Kid in Town. It first aired on October 27th, 1987. Oh, so it's another Halloween episode with no Halloween references.
Zero.
I didn't look for a tiny gourd this time. Maybe there's one in there.
Yeah.
And the TV Guide summary says, Tony hopes it'll be love at first sight when he introduces his new discovery to Sam. But it looks like even like is a long shot.
That's a much better description than the Internet Movie Database.
All right, tell me.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, this isn't... I'm going to promise you that I'm reading it properly. It's just not written correctly.
Very well, okay.
Samantha complains she has no date for the party of the year. So Tony is delighted to find his new supermarket fresh produce clerk, Jessie Nash, is an idealist to his heart and brings him over. She doesn't get on with the far less shallow, bright boy. The silver spoon date she meanwhile snapped up, Bill Weston, is however greatly impressed by Jessie's environmentalist plea against the country club and cancels.
Wow. Are you done?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It's like, well, I don't know what.
I like, part of me feels bad because somebody obviously worked very hard on that.
I can tell you, their name's there, but I don't even want to say it.
Yeah, let's not shame anybody. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely more detailed.
With you, I think it was like translated. Somebody who probably didn't.
Oh, okay. So wait, maybe it's like,
know English very well.
So our kids watched this guy named Brandon Ferris on YouTube, and I think he's pretty funny. Sometimes he's really obnoxious, but he's mostly funny. And he does this thing where he'll get a recipe and then he runs it through Google Translate, and then he tries to make the recipe by what Google Translate is telling him. So maybe that's sort of like that.
This looks like a translate, but it's still kind of funny.
Okay, so...
Oh, and then the other thing is, according to the Internet Movie Database, and honestly, I think I'll buy this. The New Kid in Town, the name of the episode is a reference to an Eagles song called New Kid in Town.
Yeah, that could be.
And I kind of searched New Kid in Town, and there's really only the Eagles song comes up.
Yeah.
So...
Because the only other thing was if they would have named it New Kid on the Block.
Yeah.
Since wasn't New Kids on the Block really popular then?
I don't know. I thought they were a little bit later.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
I don't know. I thought they were like 90, 91.
Okay.
That's just guessing.
There's no way I was in high school when the New Kids on the Block.
Really?
Oh, yes. Okay. I was definitely in middle school, if anything. Guessing. So, yeah, I feel like they'd be pretty popular right now. Okay, when this episode starts.
Oh yeah, they formed in 84. Okay. I mean, I don't know when they were popular, but you were right.
Yeah, it was definitely around this time because I remember one of my friends had her every inch of wall space in her room was covered with the New Kids on the Block poster.
Oh, nice, good for her.
Okay, so I'm a mess tonight.
No, I know. I derail you with all of my nonsense.
When this episode starts, Samantha's sitting on the couch reading something or pretending to read something, and
she's studying.
Oh, is that what she's doing?
Yeah.
Okay. And a little potholder animal pops up over the side of the couch, and it's Tony trying to make her feel better. So he says, "Hi, Sam. How about a smile?" And she's like, "Go away, penny potholder," which I guess is that thing's name. So she's like, "I know." She gets up and she's like, "Dad, I know what you're doing. You're trying to make me feel better, but it's not working, and don't worry about it. I'm fine." So he thinks Samantha's upset because there's a dance going on, and she is the only kid, or apparently, she's the only 10th grader who isn't going. Whether or not that's really true, who knows? But that's how she feels.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Yeah, she feels like she's the only one. So the other thing, too, is like, I think it's interesting that they're trying to put Samantha in like an Angela position where she's like the only kid that didn't get asked to the dance. But I kind of don't buy it with Samantha. Mm-hmm. I mean, she's always had dates. So you feel like she would probably have had a date to this dance.
Yeah,
but I guess...
No problem.
Yeah. So she's like, "You know what? I know I'm the only one not going, and it's the social event of the year, but honestly, I do not care about this stupid dance, and I'm fine just staying home." What did she calls it? The social event of the century.
Century, yeah.
Wow.
That's some dance.
Tony's like, "Really? You're the only one not going?" And then he says, "What about that girl with the mustache?"
Oh, man.
I know.
The poor girl with the mustache.
I know. Can we leave the girl with the mustache? The girl with the mustache can't help it. And listen, at some point, she's going to figure out nair or waxing, but give her some time. I don't feel personally attached to that at all.
That just means that Samantha's come home and talked about the girl with the mustache before.
I know. Or Tony's like seen her around. But again,
worse.
That was another thing where it was just fine to make fun of something like that. And I feel like now there's way more sensitivity. I also love we've been watching Ugly Betty, and I love on Ugly Betty that they haven't been doing it anymore, but in the beginning they would always show her or bleaching or waxing her mustache. That's some realism. Okay, so and Samantha's like, even she is going. And Penny the potholder screams. And then Tony covers it. So he's like, okay, well, here's what I'm going to do to make you feel better. I'm going to make you sausage and peppers. And she's like, I'm not hungry. And he's like, I know you say that now, but one whiff and you'll come around. So right then, Angela comes out of what I assume is her office in the back room that we never see.
I love when she comes running out of that back room.
I know, always. That's where Angela comes from. So yeah, and she's like bouncing out of it too. She's very excited. So she comes out of there and she's like, hey, Sam, how about we go to the movies? We'll get popcorn and we'll look for cute guys. And she's just looking at her. And then Tony makes this look like, hey.
Right.
But I can't tell if that hey is, I don't want you going with my daughter to pick out cute guys, or, hey, why are you looking for cute guys? So she says, no, I'm just going to hang out and study. And Tony's like, why do that? You're going to forget it all by Mondays because it's Saturday night. He's like, don't study on a Saturday.
See, I thought she was studying. So I said earlier.
Oh, yes, you're right. You're right. She has a pencil in her hand,
right.
And it's like a spiral notebook. Okay. Now, Jonathan comes down the stairs, and he's like, hey, Sam, do you want to go dig worms with me? So Samantha's like, worms? Like, how low have I sunk here that now you're coming out to see if I want to go dig worms with you?
And I love he's going to dig worms in a fancy sweater. It's not digging worms gear.
Well, that is Angela Bauer's son.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know.
he's going to do everything in a fancy sweater.
I mean, he's dressed pretty nice to go dig worms.
Well, she dresses very nice to sit on the couch on a Sunday. So
and is this it? We don't see him again?
And it's Saturday. Look at how Angela's dressed on a Saturday.
That's a good point. And then we don't see him again.
Oh my gosh. I think we may not see him again.
I think that's it. Dig worms, and then he's done.
This may be his only scene.
He's done for the day.
Right. Yeah, do you think he got to go home, or did he stay for curtain call?
I don't know.
Okay, so he says, I don't know. I mean, digging for worms always cheers me up, and especially when I get the big fat ones. So he goes running out because he's going to still go dig for worms. He has he probably has like 45 reptiles up there now, so he really does need to feed them.
Yeah.
And Tony's like, sure it does. And as Jonathan walks away, he says to Angela, he needs human friends.
I know.
But that's a good continuation from the last episode where Jonathan was struggling in middle school. So
that's right.
Now the back door opens and Mona comes in, and Mona's like, Sam, I'm going bowling with Jerry tonight. And Samantha's like, I don't want to go.
Right.
She's tired of people trying to make her feel better. She's like, on my date, I didn't ask you.
Yeah, she's like, who asked you?
Yeah. And I love, if you look at Mona's romper or whatever this outfit is here, a jumper, I love the little reptile pin. She's wearing like a lizard brooch. It's so cute. It's very odd, but it's very cute. So she's like, I didn't ask you. And then she says, I'm not feeling sorry for you that you don't have plans this Saturday night because it's your own fault. You got invitations to this dance and you turned them down. So I guess I forgot that part.
Well, and here's the other thing too. She's asking her she's talking about going to the movies, and she's asking Samantha to walk Grover.
Oh, right.
So how late is Mona planning on being out? I mean, if you're going on a date, it's a couple hours.
Right, you just
Grover's
walk
going to be okay,
before,
but maybe
then,
she's not planning on coming home.
Okay, but we missed the most important part.
Oh, what?
Grover's still alive.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
This is the last time we will ever hear Grover mentioned.
You don't know that.
No, it is. I looked it up.
Okay.
Because actually, so what I looked up said that trip to the principal was going to be the last time Grover was mentioned, but I'm pretty sure we never heard a mention in that episode.
Maybe
they do mention it here. So I think that this is the official last time we ever hear of Grover.
She goes on her date to come back and find Grover dead. That's probably what happened.
Oh,
and then never to speak of it. That's why
they never bring it up again.
Actually.
Yeah, that is awful. Poor Grover. Okay, so Mona says, Pete Crawford asked you out, but he's too short. Mm-hmm. And then who was the next one? Chuck Winters. He's too tall.
Oh, poor Chuck Winters.
And Larry Sherman likes disco.
Oh, poor Larry Sherman.
I wonder if those are names of people.
I don't know. It's a good question.
They don't seem familiar. So Samantha says, I happen to have, standards. And Mona says, I do too. They have to wear pants. Or at least own a pair.
I know. So maybe they don't need to wear pants.
Right.
Which is why she needs Samantha to watch Grover.
Oh, that's true.
Going out with a pantsless man.
Mona's not coming back till morning.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point.
Yeah, so that's why she has to walk Grover, yeah.
Walk Grover, yeah.
So then Mona leaves and Angela comes and sits down. And I couldn't get over how tiny Judith Light's waist is here.
Yeah.
Look how small her waist is. That's the size of my thigh. So she's like, forget about that dance. We're going to have way more fun here. And Tony's like, yeah, that dance only lasts for a night. My sausage and peppers last for days. And as he's walking out to the grocery store, Angela and Samantha say, weeks.
Yeah, weeks.
Yeah, so that's kind of, I don't think that's a compliment about the sausage and peppers.
Yeah, just talking to you.
Yeah. So now we're at a very adorable produce section of a supermarket.
Which I wonder if it was the same one as when Tony met that woman.
That, you know what? We probably should have checked that.
I know.
But we didn't because we're kind of lazy. But
I don't know. What episode was that?
It does look, I know. Hang on.
That's how you would know.
Truth in Dating. So if you want to look that up later, you can.
I don't know.
Okay. And there is a young, handsome boy doing some meditation yoga with parsnips in the middle of the produce section. So Tony can't help but walk over to him and figure out what he's doing. So he's like, excuse me. And then this is Jesse. So he says, I was just centering myself with the vegetables. And this actor is Scott Bloom. So he will be on a total of 6 episodes of Who's the Boss.
Wow.
He is the brother.
That's a pretty long run.
Yeah. And they're all pretty close together, too. He is the brother of Brian Bloom and also Mike Bloom, who is a musician. So looking at his stuff, he looks so recognizable to me, but probably just because
of this show, yeah.
Yeah, and this episode in particular, I loved it as a kid. I loved it rewatching it. I think this is where I was really like, I want to be Samantha. She's just...
really?
Yeah, because she's just I don't know. She looks so cute. She's getting her little hands and toes done for the dance. And then I remember thinking that Jesse was really cute. But I also remember thinking that Jesse and Mason looked a lot alike.
That's what I thought, too.
Yeah. They're very similar, but his eyes, Jesse's eyes are different. And Jesse does have very, piercing blue eyes. So Jesse says he is centering himself with the universe and with vegetables. And then Tony says, I always yearn to be one with a rutabaga. That doesn't sound right.
No.
That sounds dirty.
It does. That's awful.
What is he doing with the rutabaga?
He wants to be one with it.
So Tony goes over to a pile of peppers. And as he's picking one out, Jesse says, you don't want that one. You don't want those because they are from Sunny Spring Farms. And Tony's like, okay. And he says, well, they're owned by Demco, which gets paper clips from Fryer, which makes drill bits using diamonds from South Africa. So unless you support apartheid, you don't want those peppers.
Wow.
You only want peppers from New Jersey. So Tony's like, okay, I'll take those. And he says, we don't have any of them.
I know, after all that.
Right. But it's funny because this is something that's still today, you go to Whole Foods and the sign tells you exactly where they're from and you want to try to buy local as opposed from buying from these bigger companies.
Yeah.
So it's
he
just
was
funny
ahead of his time.
Yeah, we've gotten nowhere is really the answer there. So then Jesse recognizes Tony. He says, didn't I see your picture in the paper? You're the president of the Parents Association. So if there's one way to win Tony Micelli over immediately when you meet him, it's let him know that you recognize him from the paper.
Oh, yeah.
So Tony's like, and Jesse says, you're starting that program for latchkey kids. Are there latchkey kids still today? Probably high school, middle
I would think
school,
so.
maybe.
I mean, yeah, because the definition is they come home, they're by themselves.
Yes, but while we were doing that at 10, that does not happen. Is it the same grocery store?
Yeah, yes, full confirmation. It's all the same grocery store. The
Oh,
produce
that is
sign and everything.
amazing.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, so they probably stored that somewhere
Yeah.
in case they
Well,
were
it's
ever going
set
to need
on
a
the-
grocery
yeah.
set. Grocery set again.
Probably on the lot.
Here's my other question: what do you think happens with all the vegetables?
I don't know. You think they're all real? Not prop vegetables?
That's a good question. They look really real.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like it would cost more to have that many prop vegetables than just have regular vegetables.
Yeah, see, it's fine produce. That's the same exact sign in the
Yeah.
background as fine produce here.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I wonder about
Which is fine. I mean, because he shops at the same grocery
Right, right.
store.
No, it's great.
Jesse's a new hire.
Listen, I'm just so surprised that there was continuity and they just didn't build a completely different grocery set because they had burned the other.
Yeah, because they would have never known they were going to use it again. But I'm sure they keep stuff in storage.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Latchkey Kids. Yes, we were like, I remember walking home from school, 4th grade, 3rd grade, and then I'd let myself in. Definitely by 5th grade.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
I'd
I
sit at
think I was
home.
too, but I had my older brother. But
Oh,
still,
yeah. I had no one, but I liked it that way.
I know. Well aware.
It was just me and the TV and a couple of Swiss cake rolls. My afternoon was set. Okay.
Cake rolls.
Do you remember those?
Yeah, of course I do.
Oh, so fantastic. Okay. So Jesse volunteers that he would like to do a program. He could do a yoga class for the kids after school. And Tony's like, that's great. And he's like, yeah, I just, I would love to work with someone with you with such honor and such compassion. And as Tony's trying to nonchalantly walk back over to the pile of peppers, he says, someone who would never buy a pepper from Sunny Spring Farms. So he's like, I got to give it to you. You're really, you stick to your guns.
Yeah.
And then Jesse says he would like to recommend a parsnip because it's a very misunderstood vegetable.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had a parsnip.
What is a parsnip?
I don't know. It looks
What part of
kind of
the
like a
family is it?
potato.
I'm saying, is it a potato family?
Yeah, okay. See, you asked me these questions.
I know.
Now I got to look.
It is a misunderstood vegetable.
Oh,
Yeah.
it kind of looks like a potato. It's related to both carrots and parsley. That is bizarre.
Okay, yeah, nothing like a potato.
Yeah. It's shaped like a
And-
carrot, wide at the base, with a creamy yellow beige skin and interior.
It's going to taste weird with
I'm going to make some roasted
sausage.
It is. Okay, so that is a terrible vegetable to make with sausage and peppers.
I agree.
But I'm going to try to figure out a way to roast them because I see a couple recipes and it looks pretty good. Tony says, with all of your work and school and causes, you probably don't have time for anything like going to a dance. And Jesse assumes immediately that he's talking about his daughter because
I know, that's what I thought too. I'm like, oh, okay.
Thank
Because
you,
it's
sir,
like
but
Tony's
you're-
asking him to a dance.
Yeah, you're quite a bit older than me. But he says, I have got plenty of time, but we just moved here and I don't really know any girls. And Tony says, I know one. And then
No,
puts his
it's
arm
a bold
around
move.
to bring him home.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think he's probably figuring Samantha's going to think he's cute. And he knows he has no concern of this kid thinking his daughter's cute.
Right.
Because she's Alyssa Milano. So he's like, all right, let's go. So back at the house now, Angela and Mona are doing Samantha's nails. Okay, so I paid attention to the beginning of this episode. Alyssa
Oh, you
Milano's
did. I know
nails
you
were
were
not painted.
Okay.
Because I thought maybe they had already painted her nails and then they were just going to pretend to put polish on them. So they most likely then, during that last scene, somebody really polished all of her nails. And then I wonder if they're actually putting polish on these big toes here.
I don't know.
I don't know why I find this interesting, but I do. Because now her nails are really wet for the rest of the scene because I don't think they would have had much time to really dry before they would have gotten to this next part. I mean, maybe.
That's true.
Depending on how many takes they did in the last set. So Angela's doing her left foot, Mona's doing her right foot, and they're just about done. And Angela says, there you go. 10 little toes, all aglow with Riviera red. And Mona's like, Riviera red? I'm using Crimson Sunset.
I know. Oh, no.
So her nails are now 2 different colors. And Samantha's like, great, now my hands are going to clash or my toes are going to clash. But you think they would have figured that out before. So then
Great, I clash.
Angela says, there goes our tip, Madge. And then Mona says, right, Blanche. Okay, I don't know what that's from. And
Yeah,
I
we
looked it
don't.
up, and I couldn't find anything. Does anyone know who Madge and Blanche are, or did they just pick out names that they thought
Is that
sounded
supposed
like...
to be like women who do nails?
Yeah, like people who do nails names? I don't know. But yeah, I couldn't find anything. And then the Internet Movie Database tried to lie to us and say it was a Golden Girls reference, but we can't find a Madge on Golden Girls. And I don't trust IMDb anymore after the Jimmy Fallon issue.
I know. The Jimmy.
Jimmy Fallon catastrophe. Okay, so they're packing up. I like that no one volunteers to redo her nails. Like, you're just going with different color nails. You'll be fine. And Angela says, you know, what would go great with that dress is my gold necklace. Too bad I lost it. Mona's like, well, maybe you just didn't look in the right place. Try my jewelry box.
I know.
And then she says, don't touch the jade earrings you lost. Thanks, Mom.
I know. Just stealing all our stuff.
So Angela gets all angry and walks out. Mona's like, okay, well, I'm off to the lanes. I love bowling with Jerry. His mind is always in the gutter.
God.
And she got dressed nicer than what she was wearing earlier to go bowling.
Yeah, well.
It runs in the family. Everybody dresses fancy for stuff. Okay, so Samantha's sitting on the couch still waiting for her nails to dry. And she's like, I only have an hour and a half. So she starts frantically waving her arms and feet into the air to try to dry them.
Yeah.
And that's when Tony walks in. And he says, you should really cut down on your sugar intake. And she's like, I'm trying to get my nails to dry. And Tony says, hang on, I want to show you something. Come into the kitchen. Okay, I think this is a real like, not necessarily a blooper, but like he caught her off guard here, I think, by ad-libbing.
I think you're right.
So she's kind of like duck walking into the kitchen because she doesn't want to mess up her nails. And then she goes to say her next line, and he's like, nice walk.
I know. And then she kind of laughs.
Yeah, then she laughs and looks at him, and then she just keeps going. And you could tell she was getting ready to say her next line because it was like, so what am I supposed to look at or whatever? And she was like saying the S part. So then she asks him, what am I looking at? And he's like, oh, just a little something I picked up at the market. So he opens the back door, and Jesse walks in with the grocery bag. And he says, Jesse, this is my daughter Samantha. Samantha, this is Jesse Nash. So that's his last name.
Yeah, okay.
Champion of the downtrodden.
I know.
So they're like, hi, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. You can tell by the look on Sam's face immediately. She thinks he's cute, for sure. So he says to her, do you know your nails are two different colors?
Immediately notices.
Right.
Nice.
Oh, and she says it's a fashion statement. He's like, oh, okay, that's pretty bold. So Tony says that Jesse is new to the neighborhood. And he's like, look, Sam, he's not too short and he's not too tall. Jesse, how do you feel about disco music?
Yuck.
And he says, yuck. And then he's like, yuck, Sam. And Samantha's getting a little embarrassed, and Jesse's like, can I go wash up anywhere? So Tony tells him where the downstairs bathroom is. And he says, you're going to love it because the soap is environmentally sound.
What does that even mean?
So Jesse just came home with this rant. Well, I guess he recognized his picture in the paper. So he knows he's not going to probably try to kill him because he's the president of the... So Tony's like, look, didn't I do a good job? And like, I brought him home. And she's like, yeah, I mean, he's nice looking. So he's like, and now you have a date for the dance. And she's like, I do have a date for the dance, but it's not with him. And he says, if I'm going to meddle in your life, I'm going to need a beeper.
A beeper.
Oh, Sam even says that his taste is improving. So that's cute. Yeah, he's going to need a beeper. It's just so funny to think that there were no cell phones.
No. Yeah. I didn't even know, I guess beepers were around for a while, especially with doctors.
Yes, but you were probably only very important to have a beeper.
Right, it wasn't like anybody had one.
Yeah. She says that Bill Weston called, and that's who she's going to the dance with. But she says, we never know. Maybe we can go out another time, because when you drive a car, you should always have a spare. Tony does not like that at all.
No, not at all.
And he reminds her that she doesn't even have a learner's permit yet.
Mm-hmm.
So they go back out into the living room where Jesse's coming out of the bathroom. And Tony's like, here's the thing. She already has another date, and I didn't realize it. And Jesse says, it's okay. It didn't really matter. And Sam's like, didn't really matter? He's like, it's just a dance. It's not like an anti-nuke rally.
Oh.
So now she's getting a tiny bit annoyed with this person already.
Because he's like, whatever.
But Tony says the invitation for dinner still stands if you're up for sausage and parsnips.
Parsnips.
And Jesse seems pretty into having sausage and parsnips. And Samantha says, parsnips? And Tony's like, yeah, we were going to have peppers, but it was going to have major global ramifications. Now, Tony goes into the kitchen, I'm assuming to get a head start on the sausage and parsnips.
Yeah, he probably doesn't even know how to make a parsnip.
That's a
He's
good
got to figure that out.
Yeah. You think he's just going to cut it up like a pepper and throw it in there and
I guess
stir fry it?
Just like you make sausage and peppers,
Yeah.
that's how you make sausage and parsnips.
Now, the two of them are left alone in the living room, and Jesse's like, I really like your father. I'm going to be helping him out with the Latchkey Kid program.
Right.
And Sam's like, oh, that's nice. That's great. And he's like, yeah, I think it's really important to get involved in stuff because kids get too wrapped up in themselves. And then he asks what she's going to be doing for the program. And she's still blowing on her nails. And she says, I hadn't really thought about it. And he says, well, you could teach something or something like that. And he says, if you want to change the world, you need to roll up your sleeves and pitch in.
Yeah, that's right.
But Samantha says, I like the world. And anyway, I'm busy because I have a lot of schoolwork and homework and shopping.
Shopping, let's put
Yes.
shopping in the list.
But it's also funny to see Alyssa Milano saying these words because she's like a social justice warrior and has shown up at Senate hearings and all sorts of stuff. So obviously, I feel like if Sam comes back for the reboot, she's going to have a much different opinion. And again, I don't remember how Sam ended the series as far as where she is now, but she's so young here. So she says, the shopping's not just for me. I pick out stuff for my friends too. And here's kind of where Jesse kind of starts to be a jerk. And I guess we're supposed to think he's a jerk, but I feel like we're also supposed to still like him. Which I don't know that I do.
Yeah.
Although I think I did when I was a kid. So he makes some reference to Gandhi and she seems confused. And then he's like, tell me you know who Gandhi is. And she says that she saw the movie.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's not like, he hardly knows her and he's already kind of putting her down for not knowing
exactly.
who Gandhi is.
Like, if you're not happy with her personality, then leave.
Yeah,
buddy.
we get it, dude. You're smart.
So in the kitchen, Tony's doing whatever he's doing, and Angela's getting ready to walk out into the living room. And he's like, no, you can't go out there because Sam's talking to a boy I brought home from the market.
Taken out of context is bizarre.
And Angela says, was it double coupon day? But Tony's like, he's a great kid, and Angela's really shocked that Tony would have brought home like a boy for Samantha when he's normally trying to keep boys away from Samantha.
Right.
So he's like, he's just such a great kid. He's really aware. He's bright. He's funny. Samantha walks into the kitchen and says, that kid is obnoxious. And Tony's like, so I forgot one.
Yeah, but rightfully so.
Yeah, the kid is obnoxious.
She's right.
Yeah. Now it's a little later in the evening, and Bill Weston has shown up to pick up Samantha. So Samantha's wearing a dress. He's wearing a suit. Everybody looks very cute. And Bill gives her a corsage for her wrist, and she says, thank you. It's gorgeous. And he says, it should be. It's imported.
It's Armani, right?
No, that's a suit.
The suit's Armani.
And then Angela
right.
says, you really do look gorgeous. And Bill says, I know.
That's right.
And then he says, it's Armani. It belongs to my brother, but everything else is mine.
Okay.
Samantha's having a rough night with guys.
I know. It's not good.
Right? But she seems all smitten with this guy. And Angela just looks like she wants to punch him. So Tony's like, okay, well, your carriage awaits. Let's go. And Bill thanks Angela for letting Mr. Micelli drive his Jag to drop them off the dance because his ex-girlfriend only had an Oldsmobile.
I remember seeing that.
I think Tony should have brought them in the van just for that. So they go out the door, they shut the door, and then the door opens again because Tony has remembered that he didn't take any pictures. And he's like, hang on, sorry. And he's running around looking for the camera. And Samantha says, pictures from parents, if they don't have one, it's like it didn't happen.
Well, I like that he says, don't worry, it'll be quick. I use high-speed film. Dumb.
That makes no sense.
It doesn't at all.
But it's so true with the parents taking pictures.
Yeah, you got to have
We
it.
torture our children. I torture. If it was up to you, you'd have like 7 pictures. I torture
7
the children.
total?
So as Tony's running around looking for like the camera,
With
which
the high-speed
apparently
film.
he keeps in the cabinet that's next to the stairs in the fireplace. Why? I don't know. But then he
Why not?
realizes it's not there, so he has to go running upstairs, but not yet. So as he's doing that, Jesse walks in from the kitchen, and he's like, I love washing dishes.
Wait,
So I love that Tony brought this kid home and then put him to work.
right.
I'm guessing this is after the parsnips. Like they've already had dinner.
Yeah, I guess they had the peppers and parsnips.
Right. And then Jesse was cleaning up. So Tony's like, I better introduce them. So he says, Bill Weston, fashion consultant, meet Jesse Nash, produce consultant. He introduces the two of them, and I can't really, Bill doesn't really seem to care that there happens to be another kid around Samantha's age there, but it probably is a bit awkward.
Doesn't seem phased.
Yeah. But Tony's like, Jesse and I are old friends. We go back hours. So he's like, okay, well, you guys all stay here. I'm going to go upstairs and look for the camera. Then he says, what does he say? I'll be back before you can say cheese.
Yeah.
Something again.
Yeah,
really
something
silly.
like that.
Jesse asks them where they're going, and Bill says they're going to a dance at the Long Ridge Country Club. And Jesse's like, the Long Ridge? Oh, man, that's awful because you guys can't go. So,
Then everybody's like, what?
right. Samantha's like, what are you talking about? And Jesse goes into this story about the piping plover. This is another scene that I remember really sticking with me.
Oh, really?
Yes, I just remember this piping plover scene. I don't know why. Maybe I watched the episode a few times, but I just remember this story. So, and I looked it up, and the piping plover really is today it's a threatened species, but at the time there was like a big thing in like the 84, 85 where this bird was endangered.
Oh,
so,
really?
yeah, it's a pretty topical issue that he's talking about here.
I figured as much at the time, it was a...
Yeah, it was like central Canada and like the upper middle United States, and then the coastal areas of like New England. So that would have made sense here. So he says that in the field next to the country club, the piping plovers live, and they want to tear the whole area down to build condos or something. And so or tennis courts. And so when they do that, they're going to wipe out the plovers. And Sam's like, okay, but this is just a dance. Like, what is it going to prove if we go?
Right.
And he says, it's going to prove that you care about the plover because you're giving them money. So he's like, he asked her, have you ever seen a plover? And she's like, no. And then he says, it's too bad because they're cute little guys. Picture a large potato with feet. I looked them up. They don't look like potatoes, but they are like
Potato with feet.
white and gray.
Okay.
Like a large potato with feet. I'm picturing more of like an owl, and that's not what they look like. So he says, and they have this great little call, peeplo, peeplo. So Sam's like, well, why can't they just move them all? And he says, well, what if they try to move them all and not all of them make it? And then there's a little tiny piping plover in the middle of the night who can't find its mom. And it just goes wandering into the street yelling, peeplo, peeplo.
So ridiculous.
So Samantha's getting really agitated and she's like, Dad!
Right, like she's done.
Yeah, come downstairs and take this picture already. But Jesse's still going on. And so as he gets to the end of the story, Bill Weston, who hasn't said a word up to this point, is like, Samantha, we can't go to this dance.
I know, he's convinced him.
He can't let one piping plover die. So he says, he's like, it's just a dance. And she's like, it's not a dance because all my friends are going to be there and it's at the country club. He offers to take her to the movies, but she says no. And Jesse's like, aren't you being a little shallow here? And now she really wants to kill this guy. So she says, get out of my living room. And she asked Bill, like, are we going or not? And he's like, no. But he does say, you want to go to a movie? And she's like, no, good night. You're out.
That's it.
So she kicks Bill Weston out. He leaves.
Poor Bill Weston got a suit on and everything. Then he got chased out.
I know. He did offer to take her to the movies. He
That's
just doesn't
true.
want the piping plover to die. And so just then Tony comes running down the stairs with this camera that, I mean, I feel like this is an older model camera than we saw him with at when Bobby and her went to the dance. Didn't he have like a disc camera then?
Yes, he did.
And now this looks like a 70s camera that he has.
like he took a step backwards.
He can't find his disc camera. This is all he could find. So he comes down, he's looking through the camera as he's running down the stairs.
Which is ridiculous.
Because he's trying to take the picture so fast. And he's like, okay, I'm all ready. Come on. All right, smile. And then he's looking at Sam. He's like, you're not smiling. And then he's looking at Jesse. You're not Bill.
I know.
And Jesse's like, oh yeah, Bill went to the movies. So Tony doesn't even question that. Like, oh, okay. Bill just left and went to the movies.
Yeah.
So he says to Sam, isn't it great we have a spare? And he immediately, Jesse launches into, well, we can't go to the dance because there's this bird called the piping plover. And Sam's like, I don't want to hear one more peeplo out of you. So she takes off the corsage and she says, Dad, you brought him home. You like him so much. You go with him.
Yeah.
This is very similar to You Marry Lyle. Wasn't that the last episode when or There Comes the Bride, when the girl walked out and Angela's like, oh, great, you can marry Lyle. And she hands him the bouquet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And Samantha just did that to Tony
Very
here.
similar.
And then Tony says, I don't have anything to wear. So now it's the next morning. And I feel like I have to talk about this yellow shirt.
I know. It's like one size too small.
Yeah, this shirt is working very hard. It's being stretched in all different directions. Now, for some reason, everyone else looks like the 80s here, and Tony Danza looks like he's back on Taxi.
I know, that's true.
But it's not a bad look. And most people can't get away with yellow, but he really can.
He pulls off that canary yellow. Or
He
whatever
does.
the heck it is.
He looks like a Skittle. And then, I was just very confused by the outfit here, because it seems like it's not really in character for Tony where he is right now.
Right.
Like he's more into those kind of weird shirts with the big pockets. But I don't know. Maybe this is like
pockets.
This is Sunday morning, Tony.
Yeah, give him a break. Those shirts are all buttoned down.
Right.
This is a t-shirt.
I know. It's a very tight tee. It's so tight you can see his nipples through it. Like
I know. It makes no sense.
I was very distracted by the t-shirt, everyone. I'm sorry. So he's like making coffee or whatever, and Sam comes into the kitchen. He's like, good morning. Do you want some breakfast or whatever? And she's like, no, I'm just going to get some orange juice. She's turned into Angela.
Yeah.
So she sits down and Tony's like, just don't take this too hard. Everything will be okay. And she's like, oh yeah, it was fine. It was the dance of a lifetime and I was completely humiliated and I got dumped for a bird. But it's all fine. And Tony's like, well, but it was a rare bird. So someone's at the back door. Tony opens it and it's Bonnie. So this is Shayna Lane Block back as Bonnie. I wonder now if this is it. You think it's just Bonnie from here on out?
Oh, you think?
I don't know. I'm going to have to remember if we see Julia again. I feel like maybe we will see Julia again. And so Bonnie asks Samantha, how's your throat? And Tony's like, what's wrong with your throat? And she's like, you remember the white dots I had, which is why you wouldn't let me go to the dance last night. And Tony's like, oh, yes, the white dots. It was very touch and go for a while.
Touch and go, the white dots.
Yeah. So now Bonnie sits down and she's like, it's too bad you missed the dance because it was great. She said, and there was this strange kid outside with a picket sign making weird bird noises. And Samantha just looks at her with daggers in her eyes. And then Bonnie says, but the funny part was he had the wrong country club. And now Samantha looks like she's about to explode. Look at that bowl of grapes on the table.
That's an impressive bowl of grapes.
That is. Like, who's eating all of those grapes in one sitting?
Not supposed to be leaving them out that long, I don't think.
Yeah, maybe he puts them back in the fridge just like that. I could see Angela coming out, though, and taking a giant handful of those.
Yeah, that's true. But they need to be cut or not pulled off the vine.
Yeah.
Sorry. Washed.
So Samantha's like, what? And Bonnie says, yeah, he meant to go to Long View, not Long Ridge. And she says, isn't that funny? And Samantha's like, no, that's not at all funny. But she's not giving away yet that she knows who Jesse is. So Tony's like, I think maybe you should go, Bonnie, before the white spots come back. But Bonnie's like, it turned out he came inside and he's a great dancer. I think that you would love him. And so Bonnie gets up and she leaves. And Samantha's like, I'm going to kill him. And then she's like, no, wait, I'm not going to kill him because to kill him, I'd have to see him again. So she says she's going for a walk. And as she's getting ready to leave, she turns around and she's like, Dad, do you think that I'm shallow? And he says, no, where would you get an idea like that? And he's like, it's okay. You like clothes a lot. You like shopping. There's a blooper from this scene, but I didn't have time to look it up.
Oh, really?
Yes, and I should have because it's funny.
That's probably a rare occurrence to see a blooper.
I know that it doesn't seem there's like a small little one that they played on the Tony Danza show as a reunion when the whole cast came on.
Uh-huh.
And I pretty much think that's it. I don't know if they didn't save them or what, or they just didn't have very many. Who knows? So Tony says, a shallow person wouldn't wonder if she was shallow. He says it's just being 15. Now, Angela comes into the kitchen and she says, guess who's here? Okay, so I want to talk about Judith Light here. Now, we know that they would have like races to see who could get ready first when she and Mona had a change during
that's right.
Scenes.
That's right.
But since they had the whole time before, she wasn't in that whole scene before, they were able to change her hair from down to this little like French braid updo.
Oh, yeah, right.
So I noticed the effort they really put into the hairstyle since they actually had more time instead of just trying to quickly shove it into a bun or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So Angela is excited. She says that Jesse's in the living room and Samantha says, tell him I went to buy a fur coat. And then she says, you know what? Better yet, I'll tell him myself. Now, Tony's trying to plead a case for Jesse. And he's like, I know he gets carried away, but deep down, he's a really good kid. So can you just go out there, just give him a hi, hello, how are you? And just be nice to him. So Samantha walks out into the living room where Jesse is doing yoga in front of the stairs. And as she's walking up, she's like, hi. He says, hi. How are you? He says, great. She says, bye. And she goes to go up the stairs. Jesse says that he feels really bad about what happened last night. And Samantha says, you'll get over it. And then he asks her if she would like to try some yoga. And she says no. And she goes to walk away. And he's like, what, are you afraid that you're going to look silly? And she's like, no, I'm not afraid that I'm going to look silly. So he says, I know why you don't like me. And Samantha's like, that doesn't exactly take a genius.
I know. It's like,
you insulted me, you ruined my date, and you talked my father into making parsnips.
I like that she threw the parsnips in there. Couldn't let him buy the peppers.
No, I mean, it probably really ruined sausage and peppers. So she goes to go upstairs. He's like, no, that's not why you don't like me. And then she comes back down and she's like, why? Or he says, I knew you'd be back. Again, this kid is just such an arrogant dick.
I know. I know. And she's got to come downstairs. She's got to know.
Right. And she's like, okay, why do you think it is that I don't like you? And he says, you're afraid I may be right and that you are shallow.
What? Yeah. Who is this kid?
I know. You've known her for 2 days.
I like that she says that's really rich.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We forgot to mention that earlier Tony said you're not sore.
Oh, yeah.
When he brought home, you're not sore? Like
right.
It's 1953.
It's sore.
So she says, you don't know anything about me, and which she's absolutely right.
Right.
He says that he just wants her to face up to the truth that maybe you are shallow. And then she's like, you just want everyone to be exactly like you. And he's like, oh, that's really good. He's like, you really just gave me new insight into myself.
Gosh.
I really can't stand this kid. I'm
I
wondering
know, and
if
that's
he's
funny.
if he's going to get more likable as this goes on. But I remember really liking Jesse.
I was going to say he must, right?
Yeah, or I was just 12 and I thought that this was cool. And really now I'm like, you're a pain in my ass.
Yeah.
So he says, it's very perceptive. I must be rubbing off on you.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to impress her. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he's doing a poor job of it.
And she's annoyed with him here. Like, she's all of us right now. But then she's still going to get turned around and think that this is a good idea. So maybe this is just a bad representation of a relationship on TV here.
I guess.
So she asks, are you going to stop putting me down? And he's like, I'm still going to work. I'm still going to be hard on you because I see how much potential is in you. You're your father's daughter.
Yeah, what does that mean?
I know. He knows that Tony, I guess, is very strong with his convictions. He didn't buy the Sunny Spring Farms pepper. He's working to help the latchkey kids. Like, he says Tony is a great guy. He has a warm and caring heart. And there's not a phony bone in his body, and he can see all of those things in her. Underneath all of those trendy clothes.
Is that him telling her that he's not a fan of trendy clothes?
I guess not. Well, look at him. He's like, I guess he's supposed to be all deep here with his little gray jean jacket, his double denim, and his little black shirt.
And now she's all of a sudden interested, right?
Right. So, yeah. So this has turned her around here. He sees her dad under all her trendy clothes, and she's in. So she's like, so what is this yoga stuff?
Right. Is it hard to learn?
Yeah. Meanwhile, her dad's been doing yoga. Remember we saw him in all those weird...
Yes, that's right.
And he says, no, just follow me. So he starts doing like a really easy standing pose. And she starts doing it with him. And he says, you're really graceful. And she's like, yeah, I took ballet. For 6 weeks.
That's right, but she did.
That is true.
Ballet.
She did take ballet. And then she says, I gave it up, though, for shopping, which is also true because she gave it up so that she could go and be with her friends.
Again, but another reference to shopping.
Yes. So he's like correcting her pose a little bit. They end up getting closer, and he leans in for a kiss. And then when he backs away, he's like, it's easy. And she says, we probably just need a little bit of practice. And he says, lots. And then he goes in and kisses her again. And then Tony, like
confidence.
the bright yellow Skittle that he is, walks into the living room and sees his daughter kissing Jesse.
Yeah, he didn't expect to see that.
No. And I wish I would have clipped this. It's the absolute best. Samantha. It's so funny.
He is really about to have a heart attack.
No. But are we supposed to think that okay, so this is obviously the first time. Oh, okay, wait, hang on. The line here I love. When he says Samantha, she says, Dad. And then he says, what's going on? And she says, you told me to be nice to him.
That's right. He did. So are we supposed to assume that's the first time he's seen her kiss anyone?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it definitely is the first time that he's actually seen her kiss someone.
I mean, according to the show, it is.
Right.
Yeah, for us.
But this is not, I mean, the girl has already come home with a hickey. So this is not her
saw
first
it with his
kiss.
own eyes.
I guess so. But then there's another, later on there's going to be a reference as if this was her first kiss. So he walks in and he says, I knew that kid was trouble the minute I laid eyes on him. And Angela's like, Jesse? I thought you were crazy about him. And he says, I just caught them kissing.
Yeah, now it's a whole new ball game.
Yes. And then naive Angela, each other?
I know. Well, no, the wall. Making out with the pillows on the couch.
Grover. So then he says, yes. And Angela says, and you didn't throw him out? And he says, no, I didn't. What's happening?
And I love the look, going back to the look he gives her when she says each other.
Right.
He's like, what's wrong with you? That's funny.
Oh, this is all before coffee. Angela's making the coffee.
That's true.
And she says, it looks like you and Samantha are both growing up. Okay, so during the tag of this episode now, here we go again with the continuity errors. So, okay, so they're sitting, now Mona and Angela are sitting at the coffee table and they're painting their own nails.
Right.
And Angela says, I remember my first real kiss. I was so So, and then Mona says, old.
No, gosh.
But we all remember your first real kiss, Angela, because it was with Tony. There's a whole 2-part episode about it.
Yeah, that's right.
And then Angela goes on to say that she was so nervous that she lost control of her lips and ended up French kissing his nose.
Oh my gosh. Does that mean she licked his nose? So gross. That's what I would think French kissing a nose would consist
that's
of.
Absolutely. I love that you're so caught up on that.
So, I don't know. Like, what do you mean French kissing a nose?
Yeah, that is pretty disgusting.
You're going in for French kiss to oh my God. The tongue is coming out. I said,
do you want me to beep it or
I guess. I didn't really say it.
Right. It was an accident.
It was a tongue twister. Anyway.
Yeah, so now Mona says, you never told me that. And Angela says, promise you're not going to tell anyone. And Mona's like, did I tell anyone that you broke Bobby Brookner's toe during the mashed potato?
Oh.
And Angela says, yes. I know, poor Angela. And
She
Mona
broke
says,
a boy's toe dancing?
I guess so. She must have stepped on it really hard.
Well, you do the mashed potato is it's stepping.
Really?
It's stepping and moving.
Is it like the Monster Mash?
I don't know. I think I don't know. Look it up.
It's
for another time.
So she says yes, and then Mona says, "Well, everyone knew anyway. He walks with a limp to this day."
Gosh.
No.
Messed him
So
up for
she
good.
says, I promise, I won't tell anyone about your nose kiss. And then from behind the couch pops little penny potholder. And it's Tony saying, I will.
Little penny potholder.
But Tony would already know because it would have been his nose that was French kissed.
That's a good point.
So, yeah, I just think that's funny. So this is, what was the other one that when Angela told Samantha about the date and the chaperoning. That her dad did that.
Oh,
with her,
yeah.
And it was an episode in season 1. So they've done that twice now.
And
That's funny.
and of course, Jonathan never came back.
He
went out for worms and didn't return, and nobody cared. Another episode of Who's the Boss? Poor kid.
Poor Jonathan. I know. He really did never come. Maybe he had a scene that was in the original broadcast that's been cut out of syndication.
I don't know.
I'm going to say probably no.
No.
And I wonder if he really got to go home or if he had to stay there the whole time and not say one more thing and then just come out for curtain call.
I'm sure they have stuff for him to do.
Like what?
Was he helping?
Was he helping the person put Angela's hair into that French braid?
No, he's probably in the room watching TV or something.
Yeah. All right, so that is the episode. Okay, so as much as I have struggled through this, did I never say who wrote this episode?
Yeah, I don't think we did that because you know what? Once again, I derailed you with when I did my
the IMDb
date.
Right.
Okay,
well, that was worth it. But I will say,
I think that set you off.
This episode was written by Howard Myers and Susan Sherman, but on IMDb it says Susan Sherman, and then it says as Susan Myers. So I think at some point Howard Myers and Susan Myers were married. Now they are not, and she is Susan Sherman. So it's like a reverse love story.
It is.
Yeah,
that's
terrible.
Interesting.
The cat's
the
trying
other way
to
around.
Yeah, the cat's trying to get underneath my lap, my monitor.
About right.
Okay. So I'll go first with rating because. No. You go first with rating because you were first with Who's the Boss.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember because you were wrong. Okay, go.
All right. I mean,
Cat.
I think it was a 7.5.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why? You know.
That's what I gave it. No.
Oh, okay. The only reason, I liked it. It was a good little feel-good episode. It had the little grocery store scene. Even though, oh my gosh, what's his name?
Jesse.
Jeez, Jesse. Jesse was kind of a jerk, but it's kind of the beginning of the little relationship that's going on with, of course. And I think you're right. I think they meant him to be kind of a jerk, like, I don't know, like he was maybe trying to impress her, and then she ended up becoming attracted to him because of that, which is a terrible reason. Because it's like he
not a very good message.
No, and he played kind of hard to get, and then but at the whole time he really dug her. So anyway,
right.
Sorry,
I'm Team Mason still.
Team Mason. Okay.
Yeah, he's very
I'll give you
much
that.
nicer.
Yeah, he was. He was way nicer than this guy. Yeah, I mean, I don't remember this kid. It's funny, when I first started watching this episode, what I remember of him was that he was a nice guy.
Yeah, and I wonder if I'm
And I
curious
feel like there's
now to see
another
his
episode.
other episodes.
Right. I feel like there's another episode that proves that.
He's in 6. So
That's
hopefully.
what I'm saying. There's going to be an episode coming up that proves that he is a nice guy. And I don't know. I feel like I remember like maybe there was another guy that kind of comes into the scene. And I don't know.
It's Mason.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, Mason comes back.
Oh, see? Okay. Yeah. I knew that. All right. Anyway.
I never mentioned, I'm going to derail us here. I'm sorry. I never mentioned that I tagged the actor who played Mason, Adam Carl, on Instagram when I posted his episode. And he actually listened to our episode.
That was nice.
And then he sent the nicest message. And he's so sweet. Better. Yes, very nice guy. So it was great. I got to chat with him a little bit. He's doing well. He thanked us for saying nice things about him.
I know we didn't tear into him.
No, I wouldn't have tagged him if we had, but we don't say bad things about him.
No, I mean, even if we do, it's about their character.
Right, exactly.
In
like
the
I
show.
have nothing against Scott Bloom. I just think that this Jesse. So far, okay, wait. I also gave this a 7.5.
Right.
Because I loved this episode and I really enjoyed rewatching it. I just really like the Sam stuff. I feel like it brought back memories of like, I don't know, being a teenager for me, I guess.
Yeah, I could see that.
And I do remember liking Jesse. I don't remember him being such a jerk at this point, so I am curious to see.
Yeah, I think he improves. I bet this is the only time that you see him like this. I bet.
I wonder.
I bet.
All right, let's see. I'm curious now.
Me too.
Okay, so yes, but I gave it a 7.5. I really liked the Angela and Mona like doing Sam's nails.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
liked
true.
how kind of choked up Angela was at how pretty Sam looked when she left, and she like put a necklace on her and stuff. Like they're really bonding, which I think is sweet.
Yeah, that's good. Those are good reasons. Better than mine, probably.
Who's the boss around here? Me? Or my mother? Or maybe it's you?
I went with Samantha as boss because I know Tony brought him home from the grocery store, but Samantha already had a date. And then when she got to know him, and she was like, this kid's obnoxious. I don't want anything to do with him. And then she kind of came around for some reason and realized that she did like him, and then shocked Tony by kissing him. So yeah, I went with Samantha.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to agree with you on that because there's no real clear-cut boss otherwise.
Yeah.
Like there's not anyone that's even a close second, and she's not a great first for me. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't think. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. Like I didn't think that there was like contenders for boss.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? And she's not a great like boss in this episode.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
I
I feel
agree
like she
for the
did-
same reasons. She was still in control of the situation, and yeah, she didn't have a date, and she didn't end up going out. You know, she didn't end up going to the dance with him or anything. But
Right.
I still think that she. You're right. She was still in control of the situation, and then by the end. You know, when they did kiss, she did want to kiss him. So,
Right. Yeah, definitely.
and I think at first she was kind of impressed by him, or like thought he was cute right out of the gate, but
she
still
definitely thought he was cute.
kind of, you know, not playing hard to get, but just not be playing interested. In him. So,
Right.
You're right. She's the boss.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise it would have been Tony since he brought him home, but I felt like she was still calling the shots once they got home.
Yeah, Tony just brought some guy home and some parsnips. He didn't know what he was doing.
Okay, well, you can reach us at Who's the Boss Podcast on Instagram or Who's the Boss Pod 1 on Twitter. On Facebook, we have a page called Who's the Boss Podcast page, or go to anchor.fm/WTB podcast, and there you can leave us a voice message. Next time, we are going to cover episode 2 on a Billboard. That's a cute one.
Yeah, I think we've watched
we
this
watched that one
a couple
recently.
of times.
Yeah.
A couple of times.
So I think I like that one.
Yeah, I do too. I remember that episode.
So that's a cute one.
I have many questions about it, but I remember.
You have a lot of questions.
I don't know.
All right,
talk
we'll
about
find
it.
out. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you like this podcast, please subscribe and give a big thumbs up and tell all your friends. And maybe you can tell your grandma, your mother, and your sister or brother Maybe have no siblings. Tell your dog and cats. Bye.